Compared to Oblivion and Skyrim, both featuring fully voiced dialogue, Morrowind has a reputation for being the text-heavy one. But there is actually quite a lot of voiced content in Morrowind. And it's not just the main quest and cutscenes. Morrowind featured a lot of random, unexpected voice lines.
Oh, welcome to Thirsk, friend.
No, Sergio.
Relvasu!
I should crush you where you stand.
Supposed to be here somewhere, but you live. Candy.
We gotta find these guys.
And that's what I want to investigate and highlight today. Plus plans to fully voice all of Morrowind in the near future, more on that later. But for now, let's jump back to a time when the third entry in the Elder Scrolls series had just been released, 24 years ago, to Morrowind, and to the rich, strange and deeply atmospheric world Bethesda created. Let's start with a simple experiment. How long does it actually take until Morrowind presents you with its first purely text-based dialogue after starting a new game?
Stand up. There you go. You were dreaming. What's your name? Well, not even last night's storm could wake you. I heard them say we've reached Morrowind. I'm sure they'll let us go. Quiet. Here comes the guard.
This is where you get off. Come with me.
The sooner you leave, the sooner we can move on.
Get yourself up on deck and let's keep this as civil as possible.
This is where they want you. Head down to the dock and I'll show you to the census office.
You finally arrived, but our records don't show from where. Great. I'm sure you'll fit right in. Follow me up to the office and they'll finish your release. Head on in.
Yes, we've been expecting you. You'll have to be recorded before you're officially released. There are a few ways we can do this, and the choice is yours. Very good. The letter that preceded you mentioned you were born under a certain sign. And what would that be? Interesting. Now, before I stamp these papers, make sure this information is correct. Show your papers to the captain when you exit to get your release fee.
You'll go no further until you have your papers. Continue through to the next building and talk to Celes Gravius. Your papers, please.
2 minutes and 49 seconds, give or take. And if you manage to resist that sweet limework platter, of course. Not too bad. But more importantly, before that first text-based conversation, there is a surprising amount of excellent voiced content pulling you into the world right away. In the base game, before the expansions Tribunal and Blood Moon were released, this kind of long stretch of voiced content remained the exception. But there were other examples. Most famously, perhaps, the ending of the main quest, and in particular, Dagoth-Ur, the main antagonist of the game.
Dagoth-Ur welcomes you, Nerevar, my old friend. But to this place where destiny is made, why have you come unprepared?
And then we also have the Daedric quests, which are typically introduced through voiced messages from the Daedric princes themselves.
You have come here for a reason, though you may not know what it is. Sheogorath and I have made a wager.
What is it, mortal? Have you come to be of service to Sheogorath? That in and of itself speaks toward your madness. This pleases me.
If you've mostly played Oblivion and Skyrim, the way Sheogorath pronounced his own name here probably sounded a bit off to you. I went into a bit more detail on that in one of my previous videos if you're interested. One weird quirk related to these Daedric voice lines: while you hear the Daedric prince speak to you, your player character is moving their mouth.
Serve me, and I will reward you well.
It's like the Daedric princes are not just speaking to you, but through you. Under the hood, the reason is simply that the scripting uses your character to say the line. Probably because that way, even if you move away from the shrine, you still hear the line loud and clear, as if the voice is coming from inside your head. But the in-universe explanation of the Daedra simply hijacking your character's vocal cords to convey their message works as well. A rare example for a voiced side quest in the base game is Battle at Nchurdams. I also made a video about the quote-unquote proper way to pronounce Dwemer ruins, by the way. Hint hint, wink wink. This quest contains a few pieces of voice dialogue, which almost feel out of place, given that it is an otherwise fairly random and insignificant Fighters Guild quest. Nothing fancy like the main or Daedric quests. Lariana Macrina is asking for assistance to root out a great beast dwelling within the Dwemer ruin, a Daedroth named Relvesu. Take a listen.
I can smell the stench of the Daedroth. It is here, and I will find it. The beast is near now, very near. Be on your guard. Ha! Relvesu! I've come for you! Show yourself! Relvesu is vanquished, yet somehow I feel uneasy. I must investigate these ruins further.
But like I said, these kinds of unique voice lines remained the exception outside of the main quest, and the expansions, more on those later. So why wasn't more of Morrowind voiced? Given the budget at the time, and the file size limitations of games being sold on physical media, my best guess is that fully voicing all of Morrowind's dialogue simply would not have been feasible, even if Bethesda wanted to. And with Oblivion, it was only possible because of two major changes. First, Oblivion was released on DVD rather than CD, which gave Bethesda much more space to work with. And second, the total amount and complexity of the dialogue was reduced compared to Morrowind. Only then did they manage to pull it off. And judging from developer comments, just barely. According to Todd Howard in the Making Of documentary, the voice files for Oblivion took up half of the DVD the game came on.
The voices fill half of the game's DVD.
If we actually check the files ourselves, at least on my install, we get something closer to 1/3, maybe around 40% if we're being generous. But I get it, Todd. Oblivion was such a big game that even if split into thirds, those thirds were more like halves. For Morrowind, at least on the Steam version I checked, the voice files are around 128 MB, while the overall game is about 1.06 GB. So that's roughly 12%, which might make you think, based on those numbers, so 40% for the fully voiced Oblivion versus 12% for Morrowind, shouldn't Morrowind still be around, let's say, 25% voiced? Not exactly, because as I mentioned earlier, Morrowind's dialogue was much more intricate and deeper in certain ways, and fully voicing all of Oblivion's dialogue came with trade-offs. In an interview, Ken Rolston said, "I prefer Morrowind's partially recorded dialogue, for many reasons. But I'm told that fully voiced dialogue is what the kids want. Fully voiced dialogue is less flexible, less apt for user projection of his own tone, more constrained for branching, and more trouble for production and disk real estate. Fully voiced dialogue can be more immersive in one way, but it makes every game line more expensive, more rigid, and harder to expand or change. Which is why Morrowind could have these huge webs of dialogue, rumors, questions, local topics, background information, and weird little lore dumps that would have been much harder to produce with full voice acting. The two expansions, Tribunal and Blood Moon, were smaller in overall scope, which allowed for a much higher density of voiced content compared to the base game. For example, this is what you get when you first enter the Thirsk Mead Hall on Solstheim.
Oh, welcome to Thirsk, friend. You should speak to Skolder Wolfrunner. He's the chieftain of this hall and wishes to meet all new arrivals.
Keep your distance, friend, if you want to keep your head. Enjoy our mead and kinship.
Watch yourself near Eric, friend. He's
Look,
a
don't tell me
swine
about
of a
your
man.
problems.
It's too bad he's my clan brother.
And we get all kinds of voiced snippets all over Solstheim.
Come, friend, I make the best armor on all of Solstheim.
My sisters and I must make our brew before the rite can proceed.
Candy, he makes so much. Uncle Sweetshare has a magic touch. So it's back to the workshop in the snow, with lovely lanterns all aglow. Hee-hee, ha-ho, hee-hee-hee, ha-ha-ho. Hee-hee-hee, hee-hee-ho.
And Tribunal added voiced scenes as well. For example here, when we intercept an assassination attempt on Queen Berenzaya, or at least that's what we were led to believe.
Supposed to be here somewhere. He told us in the Queen Mother's chamber behind the screen.
Let's see what you're made of.
We also get the usual selection of voiced cutscenes as part of the main quests of both expansions.
This cannot be. The blood moon falls and the prey still lives. You have defeated my aspect, but I will return mortal.
Neravarine, here it ends. This clockwork city was to be your death. You were to be my greatest martyr, the heroic Nerevarine, sacrificing all to protect Morrowind from the mad Sultha Sil. But you live. You live.
In general, both expansions add lots of voiced quest-specific greetings, so to say, a concept which basically did not exist in the main game. So when walking up to an NPC that offered a specific quest, or was part of a quest, they would not greet you with a generic
"Greetings,"
but a voice line based on the current quest stage.
I asked you to investigate why the morale has been low in the fort.
We gotta find these guys and smash them. Smash them good.
Have you found more information on the weapons being smuggled from the fort?
Another great example for a voiced quest is A Star is Born. In this quest, we get to replace an actor for a theater group performing in the Great Bazaar in Mournhold. And the play is, as you may have guessed, voiced. Have a listen.
Good evening to you, Sergio. No, Sergio, it's only me here. My master, Sadura Talvani Hordalf Xir, is at his winter estate. Is there something I can do for you?
The name of the Dwemer actress performing on stage with you is Gorerin Selvillo. And thanks to a voice line from Oblivion, we actually know how to pronounce that name.
Gorerin Selvillo.
Now, if, for whatever deranged reason, you decide to attack Gorerin Selvillo, you may notice something interesting.
We are loyal Imperial subjects.
You
Die, Fetcher!
Is it just me, or does that voice not match? While you can add voice lines in a different custom voice to an NPC, like it was done for the theater quest in Tribunal, the issue becomes very obvious as soon as that NPC triggers a generic voice line. As mentioned before, those generic voice lines are the ones you hear when you approach an NPC.
Greetings. What exactly do you require of me?
Or when you steal something right in front of them.
Do you take me for a fool?
Or when they awkwardly talk to themselves.
That gal looks familiar.
Or when they shout at you during combat.
I have
pointless.
you.
Give in!
Embrace your demise!
Plus a few other reactions. And those lines will always use the same voice for all NPCs of the same race and gender. Morrowind inherently does not support more than the 20 original voices. One voice for every female and male NPC of each race is, so to speak, hard-coded into the game on a fundamental level. With the 10 playable races, that gives us the 20 voices the game shipped with. So when you attack Gorerin Selvillo, she reverts back to the voice the game assigns to all female Dwemer.
We are loyal Imperial subjects.
You
will die!
While you might expect her to sound more like this.
We are loyal Imperial subjects. Ha! Surrender your life to me and I will end your pain.
This sudden change in voice happened to Lariana Macrina as well. Her custom voice lines used the female Breton voice, but Lariana is an Imperial. At least in the unpatched game, the patch for purists changes her race to Breton, fixing this voice inconsistency issue.
Welcome. Please don't be shy. I'm listening.
And yes, the mismatching voice of Gorerin Selvillo could simply be explained in-universe by the fact that she's an actress, and changed her voice for the role in the play, which is actually exactly what happened in real life. Linda Kenyon voiced the female Dark Elves in Morrowind, and the lines for Gorerin Selvillo were also spoken by, you guessed it, Linda Kenyon, just performing a different voice for the role. But the broader problem remained. Morrowind was simply not built for more than 20 different generic voices, one per race and gender.
Master?
Questions?
What do you want?
What say you?
What was that?
Yes, sir.
Outlander.
Outlander.
Go ahead.
What was that?
Mutsera.
Friend?
Look sharp.
On your way.
Citizen.
Speak quickly.
Watch it.
What's your story?
How are you?
Hail, friend.
Which is a problem if you remember the goal I mentioned at the beginning of the video. A fully voiced Morrowind. Hence the name of the channel, by the way. We all remember how Oblivion and Skyrim could sometimes feel like they were voiced by just a handful of people. And contrary to popular belief, Oblivion and Skyrim did have more than, what would you say, like 5 voice actors? Oblivion had 18, although most generic characters were voiced by just 11 of them.
That's enough.
Not bad.
Of course, Commander.
Yeah, I get it.
Let's do business.
Well met.
Stand clear.
See you later.
Good to see you.
What is it?
Can I help you?
And Skyrim had over 80. Don't worry, I'll spare you the compilation. 80 is way too many. And still, the voices could end up feeling repetitive. Now, imagine a fully voiced Morrowind, with its gigantic amount of dialogue, using only the original 20 voices. So a decision was made to bring more than 100 voices from Oblivion and Skyrim into Morrowind. So instead of this...
What do you think of our city, Outlander?
Almsavie grant you.
Is there something I can do for you?
We could have this.
You're treading on thin ice, Outlander. One wrong move, and you're food for the slaughterfish.
Really, Outlander? You think I want to hear what you, of all creatures, has to say?
Leave me!
Find someone else to bother.
You're playing a dangerous game, Outlander, and trust me, you'll lose.
What is
Find
it with these
someone else to
thick-headed
bother.
Outlanders?
Or instead of this...
I take it you want something.
Hail, Outlander.
Well, what is
I've
it?
great prices
Come, Outlander.
for you today. Come, Outlander.
We could have all of these.
Good fortune, Outlander. Looking for a bargain?
I take it you want something. Well, what is it?
What is your
Seen
business
any
here?
elves?
What's
I've
this
got
all
no
about?
patience for petty criminals.
A fine day to you.
At this point, we need to address the AI elephant in the room. Yes, this was done using generative AI. No, not the same kind of cloud-based AI service that is currently making RAM unobtainable and flooding the internet with slop. I did not give those companies a single cent, and I did not send them any data. This was done with a custom, fully local model. But I also do not want to pretend that this magically removes every ethical issue. Generative AI is still highly problematic. Voice cloning is especially sensitive. Copyright, consent, and the right of voice actors not to have their performances replicated by some random guy who is too lazy to read all of Morrowind's dialogue, all of that matters. And if that is where some people draw the line, I understand that completely. Truth be told, I had trouble justifying it myself. But this is a fan project. There is no commercial interest, no monetized voice pack, and no attempt to replace professional voice actors in a new production. It's an experiment in making an old game feel more alive, using voices that are already part of the broader Elder Scrolls soundscape. So, in this very specific case, I thought AI is a valid option. And I have to be honest, there is something about it that scratches a very specific itch in my admittedly weird brain.
You're short on ears and long on mouth.
Ugh. You must be joking.
This mixture of voices from across the Elder Scrolls games feels wrong, but also strangely right.
Wow. You're actually quite pitiful.
I'm certain you have something very special to say. Just do so elsewhere.
A bit like stumbling onto secret cut content from a version of Morrowind that never existed.
Go ahead, speak.
It makes the amazing work Bethesda did back in the day feel fresh again. And, to me at least, it makes the world feel more immersive.
Go ahead.
Do you want something from me?
How may I help you?
Granted, I'm not delusional. Despite me trying my hardest, these AI-generated voices are not comparable to actual human talent. And I genuinely hope this remains true forever. I want human voice actors to keep bringing games to life, and to be properly paid for doing so. You can tell that there is no person behind these generated lines, no human being who understands the sentence, feels the scene, or makes a real acting choice in the moment.
Does it want to feel Khajiit claws?
And yet, for this specific project in this specific old game, and given it's not benefiting any of those AI companies, I still prefer it over silence.
Welcome. If you wish to talk, it is really no trouble at all.
Oh dear. You don't seem well at all. Perhaps you should find a healer.
What is your business here?
Right now you may be asking yourself one of two questions, or something else entirely, I'm not a mind reader. You might be asking, why in Oblivion would I even work on this godless abomination? Or you might be looking for a download link because you have that same very specific itch in your brain that I do. The why of it all is quite simple. I want to play Morrowind fully voiced. I want to experience the version of Morrowind that was hinted at by those few instances of voiced content I showed earlier in the video.
Oh, welcome to Thirsk, friend.
No, Sergio.
Relvasu!
I should crush you where you stand.
And unfortunately, I do not have the speechcraft or mercantile skill to persuade enough voice actors to join me in this monumental endeavor. Projects like Skywind deserve crazy amounts of respect just for that alone. I know the mod Voices of Vardenfell exists, but in my opinion it's not quite on par with the quality modern systems can produce. And from what I understand, it was made using 11 Labs, which is something I personally want to avoid whenever I can. Keyword RAM shortage, water use, and all those other delightful side effects of our current technological fever dream. The use of AI is morally questionable enough already. There is no need to bring rampant late-stage capitalism into it as well. So if I would have to generate the voice lines locally myself anyway, I thought I might as well use all of the voices from Oblivion and Skyrim, in addition to the original voices from Morrowind.
I shall enjoy watching you take your last breath!
There is no escape!
If you ever had an intelligent thought, it would die of loneliness.
They say ignorance is bliss. That must make you the happiest person alive.
Why should I apologize for despising Outlanders, when no Outlanders ever apologized to me for making me hate them in the first place?
But if you remember, Morrowind inherently does not support more than the 20 original voices. So now I had to find a way to teach Morrowind how to play nicely with custom voices. Long story short, I did, and I released a mod called Diverse Voices for Morrowind. Bad news, it was awkward to develop, awkward to maintain, and caused a lot of headaches when it came to mod compatibility. Which is a problem because, eventually, I want to cover not just the vanilla game, but also Tamriel Rebuilt and Project Tamriel, two of the most ambitious and successful mod projects ever to exist, which aim to add the mainland of Morrowind and the rest of Tamriel. But thanks to the ongoing development of OpenMW, an upcoming version will allow me to implement custom voices much more elegantly.
Oh, if only I could afford a writ with your name on it.
What a mess. What happened? Did you fall off a cliff?
And most importantly, in a way that should be inherently compatible with most other mods. So I decided to focus on OpenMW. Sorry to the MWSE players out there. What I have showcased so far is from an upcoming update to Diverse Voices of Morrowind, using this new and improved approach, as well as improving the quality of the voices in general.
Do you want something?
Yes, Outlander. What do you want?
To clarify, the actual dialogue is still unvoiced. For now, this update is only about adding new voices to the game's generic voice lines. Greetings.
Well met. What have we here? Interesting.
Idle lines.
If that creature visits again, I think I'll have choice words to say.
Combat shouts.
Oh, this is fighting!
You're growing weak!
You're dead already!
Crime reactions.
No, thief!
All of that. Not more, not less. The reason this matters is simple. Once I start adding fully voiced dialogue in the future, I do not want NPCs constantly switching voices between their spoken dialogue and their generic reactions. Because nothing says immersive role-playing experience quite like someone calmly delivering a quest in one voice, then immediately screaming at you in a completely different one because you picked up a spoon. But one step at a time. What you've been hearing so far is not final yet. I still need to continue testing, do another QA pass over all of the roughly 35,000 added voice lines, and properly master the audio. That is why some of them sound a bit dull right now.
I haven't seen that before.
But I hope to finish the update within the next few weeks. Release it on Nexus and then update you here on the channel as well. And after that, it is finally time to start working on the reason this whole channel exists in the first place. Creating Morrowind fully voiced.
What a fool you are. What a grand and intoxicating innocence. How could you be so naive?
It genuinely blows my mind how many people have recently stumbled across my videos and are seemingly enjoying them. I'm incredibly thankful for this audience. You have no idea. Which is also why this video was a bit awkward to make. Most of you probably had no clue I wanted to fully voice Morrowind. You're probably just here for the lore content, the voice line analysis, and obsessing over tiny details that no normal person should care about. And don't worry, those will absolutely continue. The Elder Scrolls universe is massive, strange, and full of rabbit holes, and I love diving into random little details. Sometimes it's just nice to be an Elder Scrolls nerd for a while. But this project is also a big part of why I started this channel, so I wanted to be open about it. I did my best to explain how the whole generative AI topic is, to put it lightly, complicated. I hope I handled that reasonably well. And again, if you're uncomfortable with me using generative AI, or if this is where you draw the line, I completely understand. The only thing I would ask is that we try to keep the comments civil and respectful. Disagreement is fine, criticism is fine, encouraged even. That's how we learn and make progress. Just remember that you're dealing with fellow human beings, hopefully. So again, thank you so much for watching. Take care, have a great day, night, or anything in between.